안녕하세요. 오늘 제16회 미래경영콘서트를 시작하겠습니다. 안녕하세요. 네, 저는 오늘 사회를 맡은 한국다문화센터에서 연구소장을 맡고 있는 이현정이라고 합니다. 반갑습니다. 오늘 신규 회원을 소개해드리겠습니다. 10월 새로운 세계미래포럼의 후원자가 되어주신 분은 주식회사 이너스텍의 장휘 대표 이사님이십니다. 이 자리를 빌어서 다시 한번 깊은 감사의 말씀을 드리겠습니다. 매월 우리 그 미래의 세계로 초대를 해주시는 우리 미래 전도사 이영탁 이사장님께서 40여 년간 관재계에서 얻은 귀중한 체험과 또 통찰을 고스란히 녹여낸 한 권의 책으로 엮으셨는데요. 바로 미래와 세상이라는 책입니다. 급격한 변화의 흐름 속에서 남보다 먼저 미래를 파악하고 개척할 수 있는 그런 해안을 가르쳐주고 있는 책이고요. 또 무엇보다도 미래 준비에 점점 소홀해지고 무관심해져가는 한국 사회에 대한 고민과 안타까움이 절절히 담겨 있습니다. 이 실질적인 미래 안내서 미래와 세상 이 책 꼭 기억해 주시고 서점에서는 11월 8일부터 만나보실 수가 있겠습니다. 다음은 미래로 산악회 산행안대입니다. 내일이네요. 10월 30일 토요일에 어느덧 6회째를 맞게 됐습니다. 이번 산행은 어머니의 산이라고 불리는 산입니다. 우리 현대사의 아픔을 간직한 역사의 산이기도 한 지리산 둘레길을 걸으면서 또 생명의 숨소리를 들으시고 자기를 되돌아보는 시간을 갖는 그런 산행이 되겠습니다. 10월 산행을 안타깝게 놓치신 분들은 11월 27일도 기억해 주시기 바랍니다. 사계의 비경이 살아있는 덕유산으로 겨울을 느끼러 가는 산행 11월 27일 기억해 주십시오. 다음은 생각여행입니다. 깨진 유리창의 법칙 흔히 많이 들어보셨죠? 100 빼기 1은 99가 아니라 0이 될 수도 있다고 합니다. 또 거꾸로 1이 곧 100이 될 수도 있다라는 그런 생각인데요. 무언가 진정한 변화를 원하신다면 아주 사소한 것에 주목하고 작은 일부터 실천하자라는 의미에서의 사소함의 힘, 오늘 같이 생각여행 같이 감상해 보시기 바랍니다.
Disaster kinda cursed and kinda blaster, engine running on the fumes. Vision blue and blurry, fallen angels in a flurry, spinning through the empty room. Did you come here to dance? What's in your glass? Do you feel better now? Let it rain, let it pour. Let it rain, let it pour.
네, 아주 의미심장한 동영상 한 편 보셨습니다. 자, 이번에는 미래 산책입니다. 이영탁 이사장님과 함께하는 미래 산책 시간. 인간 삶의 궁극 목적이라고 할 수 있는 진정한 행복에 이르는 길에 대해서 세계에서 가장 오래 진행된 성인 발달 연구 결과로 말하는 행복하고 건강한 삶의 법칙, 행복의 조건에 대해서 강연을 해주시겠습니다.
오늘은 이 행복의 조건입니다. 제가 이 비슷한 얘기를 전에도 한번 한 적이 있었습니다. 근데 왜 자꾸 이걸 되풀이하는 거 하니까 결국은 우리가 살아가는 모든 이 것들이 더 행복해지기 위해서 하는 거 아니겠습니까? 이런 새벽에 이렇게 남 자고 쉴 때 우리가 이렇게 먼저 와서 이런 시간을 갖는 것 자체가 내 자신의 인생을 더 행복하게 만들기 위해서 하는 거라고 생각합니다. 이 책의 영어 이름은 에이징 웰입니다. 에이징 웰. 그러니까 그걸 우리말로는 행복의 조건으로 이렇게 번역을 했는데 결국은 나이를 잘 먹고 잘 먹는 게 결국은 그 행복한 것 아니냐 이렇게 보는 것 같습니다. 잘 늙어가는 것이 그것이 행복이다 이렇게 본다는 거죠. 이 저자는 하버드 교수입니다. 의사입니다. 그리고 이 양반이 1934년생인데 지금 벌써 그러니까 70대 후반 아니겠습니까? 34년생인데 하버드 대학의 성인 발달 연구를 40년 이상 이렇게 지휘해온 그 총책임자로서 지휘해온 그런 그 사람이고 이것이야말로 인간 그 행복에 대해서 가장 오랜 기간을 두고 연구를 한 그거라고 연구한 것이라고 이렇게 얘기를 합니다. 결국 성공적인 노화와 인간의 행복 간의 관계를 추구를 했는데 어떤 방식으로 했느냐 하면은 이 연구 대상을 여기 보시는 대로 268, 456, 90 해가지고 814명에 대한 일생을 연구를 한 거예요. 근데 보시면은 1930년대 말에 하버드 대학 2학년 재학생이니까 그러니까 1930년대 말에 그러니까 20살 전후 됐으니까 이 사람들이 지금 뭐 얼마겠습니까? 40년, 70년, 지금 90이 넘었잖아요. 그죠? 이런 사람들이고 이 사람들만 그 모 집단으로 했을 때 문제가 있을 수 있기 때문에 평범한 사람도 집어넣은 거죠. 넣고 또 밑에는 보면은 아주 우수한 이 터먼 연구 대상자라고 하는 게 뭐냐 하면은 당시에 전에 캘리포니아 주 지역의 여학생들 아주 우수한 여학생 IQ 135 이상 되는 여학생들을 상대로 이렇게 그 관리하고 연구하고 하는 그런 그 프로젝트가 있었답니다. 그래서 그 중에서 90명을 뽑았는데 이네들의 평균 IQ가 151납니다. 그리고 얼마나 우수한 사람들입니까? 90명 전체의 평균 IQ가 151. 위에 하버드대 2학년생 평균 IQ는 130에서 135 이렇게 책에 나와 있습니다. 근데 중간에 이제 보통 사람들 어려움을 역경을 딛고 성공한 보통 사람들의 평균 IQ는 95래요. 그러니까 우리네 IQ 보통이 한 100 전후 뭐 이렇게 될 텐데 위에 268명은 130이 넘고 밑에 이 사람들은 150이 넘는 이런 사람들입니다. 어쨌든 이걸 보면 남녀를 다 통틀어서 했고 그리고 참 잘난 사람 그죠? IQ가 높은 사람, 낮은 사람, 잘난 사람, 뭐 보통 사람 다 해서 연구를 한 것 같습니다. 아까 말씀드린 이 연구가 이제 성인 평생 발달에 관한 최장기 연구고 결국 이 연구의 목적은 행복하고 건강한 삶의 동력은 무엇일까? 과연 행복하고 건강한 삶에도 법칙이 있을까? 이런 것들을 연구했다고 볼 수 있습니다. 여기서 내린 결론이 이렇더라고요. 행복하고 건강한 삶의 법칙이 있다. 그 법칙은 의외로 심플합니다. 다음에 소개하는 7가지 조건을 나이 50 먹기 전에 갖추어라 하는 거죠. 나이 50 먹기 전에 이 7가지 조건을 가능한 한 많이 갖추어라. 그러면 당신의 인생은 행복하다. 그런 얘기고, 그러면서 한 얘기가 뭐냐면 삶에서 가장 중요한 것은 결국 인간관계고 결국 인간의 행복은 사랑입니다. 이렇게 얘기를 했습니다. 톨스토이가 이런 얘기를 했다고 합니다. 누군가를 열렬히 사랑할 수 있는 사람만이 또한 슬퍼할 수도 있다. 그러나 그러한 슬픔을 치유하는 것 역시 사랑으로서만 가능하다. 이렇게 얘기를 합니다. 어쨌든 인생 후반에 할 일은 인생 전반에 사랑했던 모든 사람들을 찾아서 사랑을 회복하는 것이 그게 행복이다. 이렇게도 얘기를 합니다. 7가지 행복의 조건이 뭐냐 하면 왼쪽에 보십시오. 1. 고난에 대처하는 자세. 2. 평생 교육. 3. 안정적인 결혼 생활. 4. 45세 이전의 금연. 5. 알코올 중독 시 적당한 음주하는 거. 알코올 중독 상태가 아니면서 적당한 음주하는 거. 그다음에 6. 규칙적인 운동. 7. 적당한 체중. 이렇게 나와 있습니다. 여러분들 다 거의 대부분 가지셨죠, 그죠? 그러면서 결론은 그거 보십시오. 50세 되기 전에 이 7가지 중에서 5개, 6개를 가진 사람은, 대여섯 개를 가진 사람은 80%가, 80세가 돼도 절반 이상이 행복하고 건강했답니다. 그 중에서 정말 불행하고 건강 병약한 사람은 10%도 안 됐다고 이렇게 얘기를 하고, 50세까지 이 중에서 3가지 이하 조건을 갖춘 자 중에서 80세 넘어까지 행복하고 건강한 사람은 거의 없었다. 4가지 이상 갖춘 사람보다가 80세 이전에 사망할 확률이 훨씬 높더라. 이렇게 얘기를 합니다. 이 중에 1번 고난에 대처하는 자세, 이게 대처하는 자세입니다. 이거는 고난과 고통이 많고 적은 것이 아니라 고난과 고통에 대처하는 자세가 중요하다. 그 어떤 자세여야 하느냐 하면은 여기서 얘기한 것이 이타주의. 이타주의도 남을 그냥 돕는 게 아니라 남이 필요로 하는 것을 찾아서 도와주라 이겁니다. 내가 골라가지고 내 마음대로 돕는 게 아니라 남이 필요로 하는 걸 찾아서 도와주는 거. 그 다음에 예술적 창조로 갈등을 해소하는 거. 소설, 그림 이런 걸 통해 가지고 자기 스트레스를 풀고 하는 거. 그 다음에 유머. 이렇게 3가지를 얘기하고 있습니다. 그러면서 어떤 얘기를 하냐면은 부유한 집안에서 남 부러울 것 없이 태어난 그런 누가 봐도 정말 부족함이 없는 그런 사람하고 정말 어렵게 살아가는 사람하고 인생의 행복의 정도는 그 반대일 수도 있다. 이렇게 얘기를 합니다. 그렇게 결국은 인생의 행복의 정도는 자기가 가진 고난, 불행, 어려움 이것이 많고 적으냐 하는 데 있는 것이 아니라 그러한 것이 내 앞에 닥쳐왔을 때 어떻게 대처해 나가느냐 하는 것이 중요하다고 얘기합니다. 결국 여기서 얘기하는 것은 행복은 운명이 아니라 사람의 노력에 따라서 얼마든지 좌우 가능하다. 왜 사느냐고 이렇게 묻는다면은 그냥 행복하기 위해 산다고 대답은 하지만은 그러다가 잘 안 됐을 때는 조상 탓, 남의 탓, 환경 탓 이렇게 하는 것이 우리 대부분의 인간이 아니냐. 결국 행복이란 인생의 희로애락을 기꺼이 감내하면서 섬세하게 짜나가는 자기 존중감에서 온다. 이런 얘기들을 하고 있습니다. 참고로 하시고 여러분 행복을 더욱 크게 키워나가고 가꾸어 나가는 계기가 되기를 바라겠습니다. 감사합니다.
오늘은 세계미래학회에서 중요한 위치에 계신 아주 특별한 분을 모셨습니다. 오늘의 강연자이신 호세 루이스 코르데이로 교수는 MIT에서 기계공학으로 학사와 석사를 받으셨고 또 조지타운대에서 국제경제학, 비교정치학을 공부하셨습니다. 또 프랑스의 유럽경영학연구소에서 금융과 국제화로 경영학 석사학위를 받으셨습니다. 유엔 산업개발기구와 국제전략연구소에서 근무를 하셨고 또 프랑스 슈른베르저의 석유 탐사 엔지니어로 기술 분야를 담당하기도 했습니다. 현재는 세계 트랜스휴머니스트 협회 이사이시고 MIT 초빙 교수이자 싱귤래리티대학의 교수이신 호세 루이스 코르데이로 교수님의 강연을 오늘 듣도록 하겠습니다.
To me, it's a pleasure to be back in Korea. I have been coming to Korea since 1988. I first came at the time of the Olympic Games, and I have seen the incredible development of Korea. And I'm truly surprised, and I admire your country. So it is always a pleasure for me to be back here in Seoul. I was here also for the Global HR Forum 2010. And they made an interview yesterday with me in the Korean Economic Daily, talking about Singularity University, where I have been teaching since the university was founded by Google and other companies, and it is located in NASA in California, in Silicon Valley. So you might be interested in that to see what NASA and Google are seeing is the future of humanity, and the future of transhumanity, and the future of post-humanity. In fact, we have had 3 Korean students. In 2009, when the university was founded last year, we had the first Korean astronaut, Lee So-yeon. She was our first Korean student, together with International Space University. And this year, we had 2 Korean students in the summer. We had the other astronaut that was training as well, Ko-san, and another young, very bright Korean called Liu Tony, that I invited to come today, but I don't see him because he's there. Okay, if you can stand up, Tony. Okay, he's a very bright, young Korean as well. Anyway, so let me go quickly because I have so many things to say, but you can read the newspaper. I studied at MIT, and since that time I have been traveling around the world in many places. The last 3 years, actually, I was living in Tokyo. I was working at JETRO, in the Japan External Trade Organization, in JETRO, but the main 2 activities I'm working on are the Millennium Project. I continue working on the Millennium Project. I'm one of the international directors. And also, as I said, I began teaching during the summer courses at Singularity University last year. Many of you, I think, know the Millennium Project because we also have a node here in Seoul. And we publish every year the State of the Future, which is a book with all the trends happening in humanity in the next 20, 50, 100 years. In 2009, Ray Kurzweil, who is very famous for his book, The Singularity is Near, got together with the founder of International Space University, and they created a new university called Singularity University. This university is located in NASA Ames, in the center of Silicon Valley, in the greater San Francisco Bay Area in Northern California, and the main funder of this university is Google. There are other corporate funders, and also soon we are having also Nokia. Nokia is one of the corporate funders of Singularity University. I teach in the energy area, renewable energy sources, solar energy, wind energy, and other energy sources, but I am fascinated by all the technologies, like those 2, medicine, neuroscience, and human enhancement, or artificial intelligence and robotics. But the singularity basically is, I define in a short way, as the moment, the time, when artificial intelligence will reach human intelligence levels. And according to Ray Kurzweil and other people, this will happen between the year 2029 and 2045. And this is the most incredible transformation in the history of humanity, when we have artificial intelligence reaching our own human intelligence levels. Now you might ask, how do you know that? How can anyone even dream of knowing that? Well, there are several ways to do that, but the most common one is called Moore's Law. Gordon Moore was the founder of Intel, and in the 1960s, when he was founded Intel, he realized that the power of computers was doubling every 2 years, and that the price was being reduced by half. And this has been going on for half a century already, and it will apparently continue going on during the next 3, 4, 5 decades. So if we continue with this trend, I repeat, between 2029 and 2045, we will have computers that have more transistors than our brain has neurons. And at that time, it is possible, it is very likely, that artificial intelligence will reach human intelligence levels. These are the 10 courses that we offer at Singularity University. Futures Studies and Forecasting, Policy, Law, and Ethics. This is very important, policy, law, and ethics, because these technologies will transform society. They will radically transform society, so it is important to be prepared for these changes in public policy, in ethics. Finance and entrepreneurship, because one of the ideas of Singularity University also is to use these new technologies to create business. There are incredible opportunities in business in the new technologies. And these are going to be the largest corporations of the future using these new technologies, which are, number 4, networks and computing systems, 5, biotechnology and bioinformatics, 6, nanotechnology, 7, medicine, neuroscience, and human enhancement, 8, artificial intelligence and robotics, 9, which is my area, energy and ecological systems, and number 10, space and physical sciences. This is a very important area, space, because Singularity University is located at NASA, and NASA is interested in space. And that is why we have been so lucky to have had the 2 Korean-trained astronauts among our students. All of the faculty and students, last year, we got Google funds. As a gift from Google, we got Google funds. And I know that some of you have iPhones or the new Samsung Galaxy, but I like my iPhone, my Google phone, my G phone, because it now has an application that translates live different languages. Because of the Google system, now they have a beta version, an experimental version that translates. So I can talk to my telephone in English or in Spanish, which is my mother tongue, Spanish, and then the other person will listen to me in Korean. This is an experimental version, so probably will take 2 years until it becomes commercial, but it is coming. So this is fantastic. In the future, even language will not be a barrier if you have your Google phone. Anyway, it will happen also with the Samsung phones, with the iPhones, with all the phones. This is going to be a common technology. But more interesting is that we got sequenced our human genomes. Since last year, there are 5 companies in the world that are sequencing genomes. One is located in Europe, and 4 are located in the United States. There is yet not really a big company that is sequencing human genomes in Asia. So this is a good opportunity for Korea. I'm going to show you my own personal human genome. This was done with one company called 23andMe. 23 is because the 23 chromosomes. And me, because it is my own 23 chromosomes. You can actually see my name on the top, on the right. I don't see a light, but it doesn't matter. You can see it says Jose Cordeiro in blue. So that's my genome. And you can see the diseases that I might have. For example, in clinical disease risk, you can see if I'm going to have cancer, prostate cancer, if I'm going to have psoriasis, all the different diseases that I'm going to have actually identified after sequencing my human genome. It also tells personal traits on the bottom, like the color of my eyes. The color of my eyes, the color of my hair, all of this is in the human genome. You might think that this is complicated, but it is not, actually. Here I have an example of one of these chips to sequence human genomes. In this chip, you put a little part of your body, You put some cells from your body. They can be hair, they can be fingernails, they can be skin, or liquids like blood or saliva. And you put some of you here, and after a few days, it tells you who you are in case that you didn't know who you are. This is really incredible because it is not even a person that does the study. Normally, this is done with saliva. So you spit on this, you put some saliva there, and then you ship it to the company. And the company, after a few days, tells you who you are, the color of your eyes, if you are going to have cancer, all of this information found in your genome. This is going to begin commercially worldwide fairly soon because the prices are going down and down and down. And when it gets very cheap in the next couple of years, most people will do it everywhere around the world. This is truly incredible, but it is even more incredible that you will find out where your family comes from. You will find out about your ancestors. So let me show you my ancestors. This is my paternal line, and you can see this is 500 years ago. You can actually, in your genome, in your genes, is the history of all your family, the history of all humans, actually. So 500 years ago, you can see that my parents were basically from Western Europe, but it had a little bit going up to Mongolia. And if you look at the bottom right, it says famous people. So I'm related to some famous people. Number one, Genghis Khan. So I am related to Genghis Khan. That's the little bit of Mongolian that I have. So this is incredible. You see, it tells where your family line comes from. This is my paternal line. Now I will show you my maternal line. This is my maternal line. You can see also from Northern Africa, Europe, up to Siberia. And famous people related to my mother, Marie Antoinette, the Queen of France. So I am from a royal line between Marie Antoinette in France and Genghis Khan in Mongolia. But this is truly incredible. You will know where your ancestors are from. And you will see how mixed you are in Korea with the Chinese and with the Japanese and with Genghis Khan too. You have more Genghis Khan than me, I'm pretty sure. So this is incredible. And you can do this because it is all in your genome, not only 500 years ago, but 5,000 years ago and 50 years ago when all humans left Africa, because humans evolved in Africa. We are all, at the end of the day, Africans. You may think that you are not African because you were born in Asia, or I might not think that I am African because my parents are European and I was born in South America, but I'm also African. All of us originally came from Africa, and now there is no doubt. Also, we are so close to the chimpanzee. Now you can also sequence the genome of a chimpanzee. And you know how close the chimpanzee is to humans? 99% equal. We are only 1% different from a chimpanzee. This is incredible. And now this is not a theory. This is a fact. If you take one hair of a chimpanzee and sequence it, and you take one hair from you and you sequence it, and you will see you are 99% equal. So this is absolutely revolutionary. But you can go back again and you can check your family tree. Today, you can actually check if your father is your father, because sometimes you are not sure, but now there is no doubt. You can check if your father is your father. And also you can do all experiments, but not going back to the past, because that is boring. Why do you want to go back to the past that you cannot change? It is more interesting to go into the future and to see how your children could be. So let me show you an experiment that I did with one of my students at Singularity University. Last year, one of my students and we shared our genes. This is only a theoretical experiment. So we shared our genes to see how our children could be. But you know, and the probability that our children would have different characteristics. But you know, in the future, actually, you can share genes not only with one person, you can make it more entertaining. You can share genes with 5 people. If you like the eyes of one person, and the nose of another person, and the brain or the memory of another person, you can take genes from different people and combine them. In the future, we are going to have designer babies. And in the future, not too far, in 10 years, actually, I believe that the traditional reproduction technique will be criminalized very soon. Because why to live at random how your children can be when you can actually make sure that they are the best that they could be, selecting certain genes? So don't leave it at random by trial and error of biological evolution, while you can actually design your babies and have them be as good as you want them to be. So this is one of the revolutionary things happening. Now, you might think that sequencing the genome is expensive. It was expensive, but not anymore. The first human genome sequenced began in 1990 and finished in 2003. The Human Genome Project took 13 years, and the US government paid $1 billion for only one genome, and it took 13 years. The second genome that was sequenced took only 4 years, and it cost $100 million. By 2008, you could sequence a human genome in $1 million in a couple of months. Last year, you could sequence your genome in $10,000, and it would take 4 weeks. The forecast is that by the year 2015, you will do it in 1 day, and it will cost about $100. And ultimately, in 2020, probably, it will only cost $10, because this is not a very complicated chip, eventually. So you can buy one of these for $10, and you will do it in 1 hour. So look at what has happened in a few decades. From $1 billion and 13 years to eventually $10 and 1 hour. This is truly, truly exponential. So it's not only information technology that is exponential. Biotechnology is exponential, and nanotechnology soon will be exponential also. All of these technologies are going through an exponential curve. We futurists, we talk about 4 ways of looking at the future. The first way, which is the worst way, which is to be passive, to avoid the future, to try to escape from the future. Like an ostrich that hides and sinks its head on the ground. But I hope that there are no ostriches here, because the ostrich is not from Korea. A second way is to be reactive. You only react when there is an emergency, when there is a problem. Like a firefighter when there is a fire. The third way is to be reactive, like when you buy insurance to be ready for any problem. But the best way is to be proactive. We can build the future we want. We can construct different scenarios and to select the good scenarios and avoid the bad scenarios. This is possible, and this is what futures studies does. We try to visualize different scenarios. So I hope that there are no ostriches here. But if there are ostriches, I hope that they are technological ostriches, using all the new power of technologies. 5 years ago, I went to visit one of the most famous futurists, Sir Arthur C. Clarke, who lived in Colombo, Sri Lanka. When I visited him, an incredible man, he told me about how he went from engineering to science fiction. He was an electrical engineer from the United Kingdom. He studied in London, and then he moved to Sri Lanka when he began to write science fiction. And he's very famous for Space Odyssey 2001. about 50 years ago, he wrote the 3 laws of the future. These are the 3 laws of the future. When a distinguished but elderly scientist says that something is possible, he's probably right. But when he says that something is impossible, he is very probably wrong. Second law, the only way of discovering the limits of the possible is to venture a little way past of those limits into the impossible. And the third law of the future, any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. In other words, if you see a technology that does not look magic, it's because it is not advanced. The technologies of the future, they will seem magical to us. Let's review some of these technologies. 30 years ago, there were no personal computers. 20 years ago, mobile telephones were being born. 10 years ago, Google was being born. Well, what is going to happen in the next 20, 30, 40 years? Magical things, incredible things. One of the most fascinating ones is the creation of immortal cells, or basically stopping the process of aging. Aging will be stopped in the next 20 to 30 years, and cells will not continue aging. I have a friend working on this in Cambridge, in England, and he says that aging is a disease. But what is more fascinating is that it is a curable disease, and that we will soon be curing the disease of aging. And we will move to something that sounds incredible today: the death of death. The death of death. Death will die. We will see the death of death in the next 20 to 30 years. My friend created a prize, an international prize, which is called M Prize, to create immortal cells for mice. Because mice also, a little mouse, is very similar to a human. We share 90% of the genome with a mouse. And you can check it if you don't believe me. Take the blood of a mouse and sequence it 90% equal to the blood of a human. So we are very similar, and they are doing experiments with mice, and right now they have mice that live the equivalent of 300 human years. 300 human years. And how is that possible? Well, the mice that they are working with, they normally live for 2 years. That is the expected life of a mouse. But now these mouse live 6 years, which is the equivalent of 300 human years. They expect to have mice that will live about 1,000 years and then 2,000 years very soon. Once these technologies have been perfected, they will be used for human beings in the next 20 to 30 years. So we are going to see an explosion of new medical treatments for longevity extension. Also, we know today that there are 2 types of cells that do not die. And we didn't think about this before. But in the last 10 years, we have realized that there are some good cells that do not age and some bad cells that do not age. The good cells that do not age are the reproductive cells, the germinal cells. The cells, germinal cells, that make the sperm in men and the eggs in women, they do not age. They are unique. They do not age. And also, the worst cells, which is cancer cells also, they have discovered how not to age. And that is what cancer is. Cancer is a mutation that stops the aging of cells. And cancer cells do not age. They keep on reproducing, and they don't die. They grow, they reproduce, they grow, they reproduce, and they are eating you. You are the food of the cancer cell. So cancer, because it doesn't die, eventually kills you because it eats you. One is the food of the cancer. So now scientists are working also on sequencing all the different genes of the cancer cells to find out what are the mutations in cancer cells that stop the aging process of cancer. So this is absolutely fascinating what is happening in biology. And remember, this is exponential. Okay, some scientists working in biology also want to take this to energy. And there is a very famous scientist called Craig Venter, who is the person that sequenced the human genome. And he basically now is working on bioenergy. And he's creating artificial bacteria that will produce gasoline. He just got funding money from ExxonMobil, $500 million. $500 million to make this artificial bacteria that will produce gasoline. And actually, this is not complicated. This is called photosynthesis. Photosynthesis, if you remember, is one molecule of carbon dioxide, 2 molecules of water plus some light, which gives carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are the living cousins of the fossil hydrocarbons. Hydrocarbons, carbohydrates, they are similar. They have carbon and hydrogen. Only that hydrocarbons are dead, are fossil, and carbohydrates are living, from living matter. So anyway, they are working on this incredible artificial bacteria that will be so good that they will eat the bad gas which is carbon dioxide. So these bacteria are so good, they eat the bad gas, and then they will excrete gasoline of 99 octanes. Incredible bacteria. And they just got $500 million from ExxonMobil. So many energy sources are coming, including probably NASA. You know, NASA had a program for a space-based solar power. This began in 2000. Unfortunately, in 2002, they delayed the program. But the idea was that by 2020, they could have solar panels orbiting the Earth that could capture solar power and then beam it down like microwaves to the planet, to Earth. This has been delayed in the United States, unfortunately. This would be the scheme, these solar panels. But last year, the government of Japan and JAXA, the Japan Space Agency, they have retaken this project. And they expect that by the year 2030, they will power big cities like Tokyo using some of these space-based solar power. So this is happening also, not only bioenergy, but also solar energy as new sources of energy. The National Science Foundation and the Department of Commerce, they joined in 2002 and 2004 to see which were the technologies of the future. And they agreed that there are 4 technologies of the future that will create incredible amounts of business, which is important because these technologies have immediate economic applications. And these technologies are nano, bio, info, and cogno. So what are these technologies about? Nanotechnology studies the atoms and the molecules. Biotechnology studies the living cells. Infotechnology, bits, and cogno, science, neurons. All of these technologies, in a way, are converging. They are converging in the next 20 years. And they actually deal with information in different ways. But cells are information. I showed you my human genome. My human genome is information. I am information. Nano and bio are similar, and they represent the hardware of life, And cogno and info, they are also similar, and they represent the software of life. So you could say that nano and bio are very similar, and that nano is like the artificial bio, or that bio is the natural nano. And the same with cogno and info. You could say that info is the artificial cogno, or that cogno is the natural info. But cogno and info, again, is the software of life. And I repeat, at the end, all of this is nothing but information. We are walking information, in fact. And there is a technological convergence between all these technologies that will change humanity and will change human beings. Some people think that there will be a wall to Moore's law, that this will stop. But actually, this is just beginning. First, we are going to have three-dimensional ICs, integrated circuits, three-dimensional ICs. All the circuits today, even these for the genome, they are all flat. They only have 2 dimensions. In the next 5 years, we are going to see the first three-dimensional integrated circuits. Then we are going to move into quantum computing, which is much more powerful. Right now, we use only digital computing, zeros and one, which is very limited. But in the next 10 years, we will move into quantum computing, which gives many, many more options. And finally, we will move into subatomic particles. Right now, we work with electrons, but electrons are not the lowest form of matter. There are subatomic particles, and these particles have additional properties, like spin. So some people are talking about spintronics, that we will move from electronics to spintronics. And also protons and neutrons, they have smaller particles, which are called quarks and leptons. So we might have eventually also quarktronics and leptontronics, not just electronics. So this is beginning. We are going to have more and more of this Moore's law. There is no wall to Moore's law. Okay, quickly, what are these 4 technologies? Nanotechnology basically is making little things atom by atom, molecule by molecule. It's like design engineering at perfection. You put an atom where you want the atom to be. You put the molecule where you want the molecule to be. There is no waste. There is no pollution. There is nothing extra. You put only what you need where you need it. For example, this is a nano engine devised, and you can see in the government page of the US, nanotechnology. This is a nano engine that rotates, made of little atoms. The different colors are for different atoms, atoms of hydrogen, atoms of oxygen, atoms of carbon. And we are going to move into nanotechnology, engineering at perfection, atom by atom. Biotechnology also. Biotechnology, which is living nanotechnology, will modify organisms, like these transgenic fish. These are glowfish made in Taiwan. They are the zebrafish with the fluorescent gene of the red medusa. The red medusa has a fluorescent gene that was put into this fish, and now they are fluorescent red zebrafish. And many other transgenic species are appearing. If you are too fat or too thin, if you have too much hair or too little hair, this will be changed through biotechnology and new pharmaceutical and drug products. And one of the most famous cases of biotechnology, obviously, is Dolly the sheep. And there are many countries doing now biotechnology, like Korea. Korea actually is working a lot on cloning. And there is a second biology, which is synthetic biology. Now we are moving from traditional biology to synthetic biology, and it's the ability to create new life forms. The scientist that sequenced the first genome, Craig Venter now also, 4 months ago, he created the first artificial life, the first artificial bacteria, a bacteria whose father is not a bacteria, whose father is a computer code. So this is incredible. Only 4 months ago, he used some computer program to arrange the position of the different genes to create an artificial bacteria. This is just beginning, because obviously you see bacteria are relatively simple organisms. Unicellular, one cell, simple organisms with very few genes and very few base pairs of nucleotides. The nucleotides in biology are the famous ATCG. the biological code is not digital. It has base 4, A, G, C, T. Anyway, now we have created already artificial viruses and artificial bacteria. We will be soon moving into artificial, bigger life forms, like humans. It will take time because we are very complex. We have 25,000 genes, which are encoded in 3 billion base pair of nucleotides. So if you sequence your genome, you will know your 3 billion base pairs of nucleotides, which are linked into 25,000 genes. So it looks like a big number, but remember, this is not big with technology improving so fast. So in the next few years, we will also create new life forms, which are going to be more advanced than humans. Remember that a mouse is 90% equal to us, or we are 90% equal to a mouse, and we are 99% equal to a chimpanzee. So we are 10% above a mouse, 1% above a chimpanzee. Now imagine 1% above humans. But why 1%? 10% above humans, 100% above humans. And this is happening both on the hardware, nano and bio, and in the software, info and cogno. We are going to transcend human limitations of humans in the hardware and in the software. So let's go to the software, info technology. Without changing the human software, we will have soon computers in the 1920s, 1930s that will have the same computational power of the human brain. And we will link all these computers, which are becoming cheaper and cheaper. I saw this in Korea 10 years ago in one of my trips to Seoul, and I was truly amazed. This, you probably know this is the Korea quiz on TV, where they have university students competing. But what I found fascinating, what I found incredible, is that the students didn't have to know the answer. If you don't know the answer, you look for it in internet. This is a total change of paradigm. Before, you needed to have the answer. Now, you don't have to have the answer. You look for the answer. So now the brain is not the limit of knowledge. The brain is only, today, the gate for more and more knowledge. Today, there is no limits to knowledge. We can discover and find anything, and it doesn't have to be in our brain, which is anyway very small and very limited. Wikipedia, it's an incredible example of sharing knowledge around the world. And there are 3 laws of knowledge. The first one, the number of nodes, it's a linear equation. Like, for example, let's suppose we are 100 people, so we have 100 nodes. But the creation of the number of connections is called Metcalfe law. Metcalfe law, it's n squared. So we can create n squared number of connections among us. But the creation of knowledge is actually exponential. So the creation of knowledge we are going to see once we begin connecting all humans in the planet is exponential. And remember, even language soon will not be a barrier. You can use mobile technology to translate real time soon. So even language will stop being a barrier, and we will create incredible amount of knowledge. And we will connect all of our brain power. So let's go to the final technology, cognotechnology, the study of the brain. As you probably know, the brain is the most complex structure in the universe that we know of. There is nothing more complex than a human brain in the universe that we know. Maybe tomorrow we have a Martian or someone from Jupiter or from the Andromeda galaxy that comes and has a more complicated brain. But as of today, there is nothing more complex than a human brain that we know of. And you know what? The human brain is not that complex. We are going to create artificial brains in 20 years. Our brains look complex, but they are not that complex. They are the most complex structure. That is why it is the only organ that we still don't understand. We understand the heart, the muscles, the lungs, almost every organ except for the brain, because it is the most complex. But now we have been studying brains and how the brain has evolved from the reptilian brain to the limbic brain, and finally to the neocortex, our brains, the most complex. In Japan, where I lived, as I mentioned, 3 years almost, they are studying how the brain evolved from the reptilian brains that are fish and reptiles, and how it grew. You can see the rat or the mouse, and remember, they shared 90% of our genome to the chimpanzee, 99% of the genome. So you think this has stopped? No, this continues. This continues. And in Japan, they are trying to work at this very famous center that you probably know, RIKEN. RIKEN is the top scientific institution in Japan. They have plans for the year 2018 to create artificial brains. So if you don't have a brain, it doesn't matter. Go to Tokyo in 2018 and you can buy a new brain. Actually now, I know that Korea is also interested in brain research, and this is a fantastic area of research. So it's truly incredible because it is to understand the most complex structure in the universe, the human brain. So what is a brain? A brain, besides being very ugly, brains are ugly. You have seen brains. Brains are ugly. Very small, watery. They are all wrinkled brains. In that ugly thing, which is very small also, it's only like 1.5 kilograms. However, it's our memories, our dreams, our loves, our passions, our knowledge is in that little ugly thing in a brain. But what is technologically a brain? A brain is a structure that has 10 to the 11 neurons. Each neuron has about 1,000 connections. That makes 10 to the 14 synapses or connections. That is why a computer can divide 3,450,000 whatever divided by 213 in 1 second. And none of us can do it. Why? Because a computer is 1,000,000 times faster than human brains. And soon, they will not only be faster, they will have more transistors than the human brain has neurons. And this is the time of the singularity, when artificial intelligence reaches human intelligence levels. So anyway, a normal human brain today computes 10 to the 17 operations per second. So if we don't talk about the mind, the spirit, and the soul, and I only do that after 2 glasses of red wine, before I don't talk about that. So a brain really, it's only a machine that computes 10 to the 17 operations per second. And we are going to reach those levels of computation in the next 20 years. We also have now computer-to-brain implants, internal implants and external implants, and I follow very much robotics. Robotics is one of the growing areas. And Korea actually is doing a lot of robotic work. I like, after Japan, Korea is doing a lot of research on robotics. And robots are also advancing very fast. And you can even have cyborgs like this British scientist who wants to be a cyborg. At MIT, in my alma mater, at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, they are working also on the emotions of robots, how robots will have feelings and different types of feelings. However, in the West, in the Western countries, in America, in Europe, robots are normally bad. You have their Terminator, Arnold Schwarzenegger, who right now is the governor of California. He was the one who opened Singularity University last year. He gave the opening speech as the governor of California, obviously. But we call him the governator. So the governator gave the opening speech of Singularity University. And when he finished his speech, he said, I'll be back. He is very funny, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Anyway, robots in the West are normally bad. That is why there is this fear of robots in America, in Europe. But in Japan, and I also think in Korea, robots are actually good. In Japan, the children grow up with Astro Boy, Atom Boy, and he's always good. Actually, not only is he's good, he's better than humans. And that is why robots are so important. And also in Shinto religion in Japan, in Shinto, robots have souls. They have a kami, a soul in Japan. So robots are good in Japan. And I repeat, they are better than many humans. So that is why Japan is so advanced in robotics. And that is why I think Korea also is so interested in robotics. And you can see Asimov, the evolution of Asimov. Incredible evolution in only 10 years. In 10 years. Imagine what is going to happen in the next 10 years. So is this human and machines or human or machines? Well, we are merging with our technology. We keep on merging with our technology. Sometimes we don't realize it, but this, my glasses, this is a technology that is merged with me. And in the future, we will have more technology, even more merge, fusioned with us. One of my professors at MIT, father of artificial intelligence, Marvin Minsky, he's very famous for saying, will robots inherit the earth? And he said, yes, but they will be us. We will be them. We are merging with the machines. A more radical approach is by a professor from the University of Southern California in Los Angeles, one of the fathers of fuzzy logic, fuzzy thinking. He says, biology is not destiny. It was never more than tendency. Biology was just nature's first quick and dirty way to compute with meat. Chips are destiny. If you remember the periodic table of elements in chemistry, carbon is here, and the element below carbon is silicon. We are carbon-based organisms. Computers are silicon-based organisms. And silicon is like a more complex carbon. Silicon is a more sophisticated form of carbon. So I let you think, this is a lot of science fiction, but the science fiction of today is the real science of tomorrow. So this is called transhumanism. Humans transcending our biological limitations. We have many biological limitations. We have physical limitations. We have chemical limitations. We have spiritual limitations. We have sexual limitations. We have linguistic limitations. We have many, many limitations. But science and technology will help us to transcend our limitations. And this is called transhumanism. Moving from humans to something beyond humans, to transhumans and to posthumans. And we have to do this carefully, though, because we don't want to finish like that. So we have to move beyond humans in a careful way. But what is important about humans? What is our biological name? Homo sapiens sapiens. Homo sapiens sapiens means the human that knows that knows. We are the first species that knows that knows. No other species before humans knows that knows. We are the first species that is able to self-recognize in a mirror without training. Even if you take a baby of 2 years old, the baby knows himself in the mirror. Animals cannot do that. If you have animals at home, if you have a dog, if you have a cat who are intelligent animals, try to put a dog or a cat in front of a mirror. They do not recognize themselves. It is very interesting. A dog recognizes its female partner or its dog partner, and a dog recognizes the little doggies, the children dogs, but a dog is not able to recognize itself in a mirror. we are the first species that is able to recognize ourselves in the mirror without training. There are 3 other species that can be trained to recognize themselves because they also have very, very high neocortex brains. They are the chimpanzee. The chimpanzee can be trained, the elephants, and the dolphins. Dolphins, elephants, and chimpanzees can be trained to recognize themselves. But we recognize ourselves without any training. Humans are not the end of evolution. We are not the end of evolution. We are just the beginning of conscious evolution. Biological evolution continues also. But biological evolution is very slow. And it is by trial and error. It's random. It's by mistakes. We are going to have further evolution through technology. We are going to design the future. And we will eliminate all diseases. I'm so happy. We will be eliminating all of these diseases in the next 10 to 20 years. With genetic treatments and stem cell research, we will eliminate most of these horrible diseases. Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's disease, and eventually we will cure the ultimate disease, which is aging. We will stop the aging process of cells. So evolution continues, and remember, we are not the end of evolution. We are just the beginning of conscious evolution. This will go on, and we will go into space. And here also Korea is moving into space. One of my students last year, Yi So-yeon, the first Korean astronaut, and the singularity is coming in the next 20, 30 years. But the brain today actually is the final frontier because it is the most complex structure. But we have to do it carefully, because there is always the unknown, the dark side of the force, the yin and yang. And that is why I think Korea is fascinating, because South Korea is one of the most advanced countries in the world, and it has done it in half a century, while North Korea is one of the basket cases in the world. North Korea is a total disaster. So I'm very hopeful for humanity because I see the future of humanity in South Korea. I see what South Korea has done, and I am amazed. I admire what South Korea has done. And I believe that North Korea will collapse in the next 10 years, and that there will be a peaceful reunification between North and South Korea before 2020. And this will be an example for all of humanity. And the example to the world will come from Korea. That is why I'm here. That is why I enjoy so much staying with my Korean friends, because this is so important to the world, to the future of humanity, Korea. So I do a lot of meditation when I go to India or when I am in Buddhist countries. I think it's very, very good to enlighten myself. And so, 감사합니다.
또 왜 그러냐면 과학이 발달하는 만큼 소외계층들이 많아지고 낙관적인 이론을 수행하다 보면 소외계층에 대한 무슨 숨겨져 버리는 그런 상황이 오고 있습니다. 그래서 이제 데리다 같은 대체주의자는 이를 상당히 무서워하고 반대합니다. 또 마지막으로 문화가 다 무서워진다고 하는 얘기를 제롬 라스킨과 리스킨이라고 하는 사람이 이제 얘기를 했습니다. 노동의 종말이라고 글씨를 쓴 사람인데, 과거의 마르크스주의 개념이 이제 소용이 없다. 제가 해석은 그렇게 봅니다. 문화가 소위 말하자면 이제 하부가 되기 때문에 그 문화라고 하는 것은 과학적인 것도 그걸 작용하지만 우리가 인류 사회를 가지고 있는 이런 인문과학과 사회와 굉장히 관계되는데, 그래서 이제 굉장히 요새 통섭이라고 하는 컨실런스라는 얘기를 이제 우리 학계가 제대로 받아들이지 않고 있습니다. 과학기술적으로 상당히 받아들여 발전하는데 이 사회과학적인 의료품 쪽에서 이제 연구가 덜 되기 때문에 이런 인류 문제가 해결하는 게 얼마나 장애가 되고 있는데 인류에 대해서 어떻게 생각하는지 답변해 주실 겁니다. 감사합니다.
Also about your age, I think these technologies for longevity extension are coming in the next 20 years or maybe sooner, because right now we have this little mouse that live 300 years. But there are two prices for longevity. One is to expand the life of the mouse as it is. The second one is to rejuvenate the mouse. So they are working also on technologies to make the cells younger. So this is feasible probably soon. I don't know how soon. But if the worst happens, then we have cryonics. We have cryonics. You might have heard that Walt Disney is cryonically suspended, which means that he's frozen. Actually, many people are frozen. There are in the USA 2 centers for cryonic suspension and one in Russia. So this is, if something happens before the technologies arrive, you can always go into cryonics. But actually, I personally think we will have those technologies soon. And I think I'm not going to die. I think we are going to have these technologies for me. And I'm working with scientists working on these areas. And they are also very optimistic of what is going to happen. Because I repeat, the human genome is not complex. It is not complex. So these technologies will come, and they will come very cheap, very cheap. The first mobile telephones 20 years ago were big, and they cost $3,000. Today you can buy a mobile telephone for less than $100, and they are very small. The same with these human genome technologies. The first one was $1 billion. In 10 years, it will be $10. So all of humanity will have access to these technologies. I am obviously concerned about the future of humanity, all of humanity, that we are now in 7 billion people, and we will soon be 9 billion people. But all of us will have access to these technologies, I think, because technology has the beauty that it gets cheap very quickly, especially when more and more people use it, cheaper and cheaper it gets. So we are going to have very cheap info technology that we already have, very cheap info technology. We are going to have very cheap nanotechnology, very cheap biotechnology. But the social issues are important. That is why I emphasized the second course that we have at Singularity University, which is policy, law, and ethics. This is fundamental, because we are going to see the most fundamental change in the history, not only of humans, in the history of planet Earth. You asked also, what is different about the singularity? Well, I see two things. I see two big changes, totally different. One is the conquest of death, the death of death. This is absolutely radical. People will no longer have to die if they don't want to die. Some people might want to die for religious reasons. I have many friends who want to die. And I say, well, if you want to die, die. No problem. And those who want to die will die. I have no problem with that. But those who do not want to die, for the first time in the history of the planet, will not die. And this is completely radical. This is unthinkable a few years ago. And I believe we are going to see this in 20 to 30 years. And these are serious scientists working on this at Cambridge University. This is not the government of Kim Jong-il, saying stupid things. These are serious scientists working on serious issues, on curing aging. So to me, that is absolutely radical. The other radical thing that we are going to see is artificial intelligence reaching human intelligence levels. This is also totally radical. And it is so radical that it is called the singularity, the technological singularity. And we actually cannot see beyond this point, because we cannot imagine today what beings human beings, transhuman beings, post-human beings with higher intelligence than us will do in the future. We cannot foresee this. It is like asking a chimpanzee try to think like a human. It's not possible. Even though we are only 1% different in the genome, only 1%, but a chimpanzee cannot dream of the dreams we have, cannot build the things we build. So imagine 1% higher than humans. We cannot foresee what these post-human forms will do. But I repeat, I think we will merge with the technology. It is not a separate technology. It will be with humans because we are creating this technology. This is not technology that arrives for Mars, from planet Mars or from another galaxy. No, this is technology developed by humans. So I think we will merge with these technologies.
예, 지금 강의 듣다 보니까 노화가 질병이다 이렇게 말씀하셨는데 그렇다면 만약에 이제 그 질병이 치료된다면 인간은 지금 이제 뭐 연령대로 보면 10대, 20대, 60대까지 있는데 몇 대의 중심을 삶을 살게 되는 것인지 그게 궁금하고 그리고 이로 인해서 인간이 이제 나중에 사이버 인간을 창조하게 된다면 그 조물주 위치에 서게 되는 건데 그로 인해서 또 정신문화나 종교인 때 많이 일어나는 어떻게 돼서 그런지.
Yeah, this has very deep philosophical, moral, and religious implications. And some religions like Christianity has been, and I am from a Christian background, but Christianity has been against many scientific advances. When Galileo Galilei said that the earth was not the center of the universe, you know, the Catholic Church almost burned him. When Darwin said that we descended from the monkeys, and we do, by the way, you can check it today. Today there is no doubt the church, the Catholic Church was against him. So I think Islam, fundamentalist Islam, and fundamental Christianity will be against these technologies. Judaism is more open. Judaism is of the monotheistic faiths, monotheistic religions, is the most open. And the Eastern religions, Hinduism, Buddhism, are very open to evolution. In fact, they believe that we evolve. We have rebirths and we keep on evolving. So I see problems, especially with fundamentalist Islam. And these are very serious problems because they will burn people who want to live longer and so on and so forth. And we will modify ourselves. We will change our bodies. Our bodies are the result of biological mistakes. We are here because of biological trial and error, biological random evolution. And our bodies have many problems, many imperfections. In fact, animals have better body parts than we do. A dog can hear more sounds than we can. A cat can see more than we can. So we can already, with biological parts already existing, we could see better, we could hear better. But also to colonize the space, to go to Mars and beyond Mars, our biological bodies are very weak, very bad. We need to change our biological bodies. And I think we will. In the 2008 Olympic Games in Beijing, there was an athlete that was disqualified because he had no legs. He had no legs, but he used bionic legs, artificial legs. And actually he ran faster than humans. And he was disqualified because he actually had no legs. And therefore he had to use artificial legs that made him faster than humans. We are going to see this in the Olympic Games, in the next Olympics, and in the following years, because artificial body parts are better than human body parts. My telephone has better eyes than me. The camera here is better than my eyes. And we will want to have better vision. You know, I don't like to wear glasses. if I had the camera of my mobile telephone, I would see better. So we are going to have cyborgs. But we already have cyborgs. I am a cyborg with my glasses. There are people who have prostheses, who have different artificial organs. This is already happening today. We will only see it more and more and more in the future. And it will be cheaper and cheaper and cheaper so that everybody will have access to this. So I think there is an incredible future, but we have to be careful of the bad side and the difficult side. And fundamentalist religion will be a threat to this technology. So I am concerned, and that is why policy, law, and ethics is fundamental to make these changes in a positive way. Because we have a fantastic future, and I think Korea is fundamental to that future. Thank you.
이상으로 제16회 미래경영콘서트를 마치겠습니다.